So every year we gather together to celebrate the Immaculate Conception, and it's one of the great feast days of our church's tradition. It is an ancient celebration. It's one of the examples of papal infallibility. That doctrine has only been utilized twice, and the first time was right after the Church declared the Pope can be infallible in certain circumstances. The Pope Pius IX, asked the bishops of the world, what do the people believe? What do the people of God already believe that I can utilize this new idea? And the answer, almost unequivocally, was the Immaculate Conception. There are many churches throughout the world named after the Immaculate Conception that are much older than the Immaculate Conception doctrine as we know it today. And what is it that we are celebrating? What is it exactly that we believe? Because many people, many Catholics, and certainly many Protestants look at the Immaculate Conception and say, what is this? What is this for? First off, it's the Immaculate Conception of Mary, not Jesus. We always read this reading from Luke, which is about Jesus' conception, but that's not what we're talking about. That's the origin of the Immaculate Conception. See, the Immaculate Conception is not explicitly found in Scripture. You won't go to the Old Testament and then, in like the second book of Kings, find some piece of Scripture that explains it. It's based upon logic. Jesus is God. God cannot sin and cannot experience sin. It's not possible. Well, what about original sin? Well, he must be protected from it in some way. And what we believe as Catholics is that God, who exists outside of time, which is hard for us to think about because our existence is so rooted in time, but God doesn't experience time. He can take Mary's yes, which we just heard, and then go even more forward into the future and take Jesus' grace that he accomplishes on the cross, and then apply that grace all the way back to the moment of Mary's conception, allowing her to live a holy, sinless life. What's so special about this day? What's so special about Mary's yes, Mary's fiat? Why do we have to celebrate the Immaculate Conception so forcefully? It has to do with our first reading. Genesis chapter 3, the fall of man. First off, I love how Adam and Eve respond. It's so human. First off, who told you you were naked? I don't really know, but it was the woman's fault. It wasn't my fault. The woman did it. God goes to Eve and she just goes, that serpent, really tricky guy. He got me. Wasn't my fault. It was the serpent. But that's us, isn't it? Not me. Him. Not me. Her. Anybody else. But what we often overlook when we read about Adam and Eve, Adam, man, Eva, the bearer of life, nothing went wrong for them. They didn't have problems. They didn't argue. They didn't fight. They never had to question where their meals were coming from. There was just food was provided. They never experienced cold. They were never cold. That was their life. When Adam hides out of fear, right? We heard that. That's the first time he was ever afraid. That's what Genesis is getting at. They lived perfect lives, and they still did the one thing God told them not to. That's humanity. That's us at our core. What makes the Immaculate Conception so important, what makes it so special, is that it's based upon a woman just like any other. Mary wasn't like Eve. Eve had a perfect life. Adam had a perfect life. Mary was a person in the world, just like any other living 2,000 years ago. She had issues, she had problems. She got cold sometimes. And despite that, she got it right. She got it perfectly correct. May it be done unto me according to your word. And because of that yes, the fall of Adam and Eve melts away. Yeah, original sin's still a problem. We still struggle with concupiscence. But we now have an out. We now have a means to break through sin and suffering and death and return to humanity's proper place, where humanity was designed to be, in paradise at the right hand of God, seeing God face to face. Jesus is the one who restores us to that dignity. But Jesus' mission is possible because of Mary. Of all of human history, one woman got it right. And that's all God needed. And so for us, brothers and sisters, if we are willing to say yes, even though we don't understand, even though it's scary, even though we might be confused, if we can bring ourselves to say yes, not to personal gain, not to the acquisition of knowledge or power, but for the other. If we can say to God, may it be done to me according to your word, not my word, God can enter into this world through us. Not in a physical manner, as is the case with Mary, but spiritually. Jesus can encounter many through us, if only we are willing to say yes to Him